ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the Southeastern Conference.
Outside Tiger Stadium, LSU fans have been barbecuing Gator for hours. They hope their football team will do the same thing inside this great venue. It's a tremendous SEC rivalry game. The 20th ranked Florida Gators in Baton Rouge to take on the LSU Tigers, presented by Marathon. This is the SEC on ESPN. Hi everybody, welcome. Sean McDonough along with Todd Blackledge. Delighted to have you with us. They're not in the same division in the SEC, but they play every year, and there's a lot of dislike between these two teams. Todd, I think when the year started, both had visions of getting to the conference title game in Atlanta. That looks a little far-fetched right now, although we talked to Dan Mullen, the Florida coach, yesterday. He said, we win out, anything is possible. That has to start today, obviously.
They're a really good football team. I mean, 2 narrow losses to Alabama and on the road against Kentucky. LSU, meanwhile, a depleted roster right now, trying to avoid a 3-game losing streak. They were embarrassed last week in Lexington by the Wildcats. I expect them to play much better today because this is a very intense rivalry game.
And, of course, the backdrop here today and all week has been speculation about the future of LSU coach Ed Orgeron, less than 2 years removed from winning the national championship with an undefeated team. His team is 8-8 since, and there is a lot of speculation about his future. Sunny and breezy, gusts to 26 miles per hour, but very pleasant from a temperature standpoint. It's cooled off quite a bit from what we had here the last couple of days. Temp in the mid-60s. Florida won the toss and deferred, so they kicked off, and Jace Chrisman's kickoff went over the head of Trey Palmer. And here comes LSU, led by Max Johnson, who made his first career start last year against the Gators in Gainesville. They were 23-point underdogs, went there with a record of 3-5. He was terrific, led them to a dramatic 3-point win. He threw for 239 and 3 touchdowns. He also ran for 52, wound up being the SEC Player of the Week for that performance. They start on the ground with Ty Davis-Price, and he's ahead for 2. Already an injured LSU player, and that's been a big part of this season as they come in 3-3. Lots of injuries, mostly on the defense, but that's Anthony Bradford, the left tackle, who is the 4th different starting left tackle for LSU this season in 7 games. Yeah, that's been the real revolving door. The other 4 positions have been the same, but this has not been a typical LSU offensive line or running game. And take a look at the injured players on offense. Most notable wide receiver, Kayshon Boutte. I mean, he was the leading receiver on this team. Max Johnson's favorite target and leading the nation in touchdowns receptions. Deion Smith, another receiver out. Probably their 2 best receivers out of the game today. And that's only about half the guys missing compared to their defense. We spoke with Jake Peets, the offensive coordinator, yesterday. He said 1 and 6 are our 2 best wide receivers, as you just said. Coach Peets agrees with that. Neither of them available, but there are a lot of talented young receivers, and Ed Orgeron talked about the opportunity for others, part of the terrific recruiting classes they've had here recently, to come forward. Boutte, as Todd just said, was tied for the national lead in touchdown catches. Jordan Addison of Pittsburgh, Jalen Cropper of Fresno State. The rest of the team has fewer combined touchdown catches than his 9. Cameron Wyatt, who's been battling Bradford for the starting left tackle job, has come in at that position now. Johnson, after a play fake, has a wide open man in the flat. It's the tight end, Jack Besh, who's now their leading receiver on the team with 23 catches in the absence of Boutte.
Well, Sean, it's a little breezy down here. You mentioned wind gusts over 20 miles per hour in warm-ups, and quarterback Max Johnson struggled a little bit throwing against the wind, which is what he's doing right now. Balls were sailing on him. He looked a little inaccurate, but watching him, his throws looked cleaner when he threw to the left, so you may see more of that.
He's a left-hander, the son of Brad Johnson, Super Bowl winning quarterback with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He fired a bullet that went past Jack Besh.
I like Max Johnson. I think he's got savvy playing the positions. Just a little RPO throw just behind the receiver, Besh. He's accurate, I think, for the most part, short to intermediate. When he gets in trouble is on the deeper routes. I don't think he has a particularly strong arm, and if he doesn't throw it early, he has some problems.
Davis Price ran for 147 in that loss to Kentucky. They've struggled to run it all year, but they felt like with his performance and improved play of the offensive line, they're ready to keep the running game going today and beyond. There's Brad Johnson. The Johnson family here in attendance. On the left is Max's younger brother Jake, who will be coming here next year to play for LSU, one of the top tight end recruits in the country out of Oconee County High School in Georgia. It's also where Max played. Brad Johnson's an assistant coach on that team. Mother Nikki, also a great athlete. Deep throw, single coverage, and incomplete over the head of Malik Neighbors, who was covered by Trevez Johnson. The Tiger fans want a flag, they won't get it.
Yeah, I think Trevez Johnson was just in good position. It wasn't intentionally preventing the guy from running around, just in position. Didn't have a hand on him, but the ball sailing over the head. Trevez Johnson back after being sitting out the second half last week, had a targeting foul in the first half of the Vanderbilt game a week ago.
Avery Atkins punting into that brace, and it's blocked. Blocked and rolling free near the 35-yard line. Now a scrum. And Florida is going to have the ball at the 35-yard line, it appears.
Moving on the field is legal touching by the kicking team. Ball will be placed here, first down.
And they're going to move the ball out across the 40-yard line.
It just didn't even get a piece of that edge guy. There's 3 personal protectors, 2 on that side. Didn't even get a piece. Ball is blocked.
Jordan Pouncey blocked it. Yeah, that's hard to believe. I mean, 3 personal protectors standing there like statues. They just watched Pouncey go right by them and block the kick. So great field position to start the day on offense for Emory Jones and a revamped Florida offensive attack. Last year, prolific passing team. This year, one of the best rushing teams in the country, and Jones, the quarterback, is their leading ball carrier. Hands it off to Malik Davis, who bounces outside and goes out of bounds at the 48. He gained 7. Well, last year they had Kyle Trask at quarterback. They threw for 378.8 passing yards per game, most in the country. Trask gone. A couple of terrific wide receivers and the great tight end Kyle Pitts gone. So now they're the 3rd best running team in the country. Behind Air Force and Army, Malik Davis nowhere to go that time. Lost a yard, in fact. Damone Clark made the tackle, and he'll make just about every tackle for LSU today. He's the leading tackler in the SEC.
And also in on that play was Glenn Logan, and LSU happy to get him back. I mean, this is his first game action, a foot injury in the summer. He's been a starter for 3 years here, and happy to have him back in the midst of their other defensive injuries.
3rd down and 5, just underway. Florida running out of time, and Jones is sacked. Mason Smith, a true freshman, one of the most highly recruited players in the country, out of Houma, Louisiana, got to the quarterback.
Well, Mason Smith got the sack, and he's going to come from right here, just an outside rush. But this is because of the coverage. I mean, Emory Jones had plenty of time to make a throw. That's a clean pocket. Nowhere to throw the football, held on to it a little bit too long. And Mason Smith comes away with the interception. I mean, with the sack.
Jeremy Crawshaw to punt. He's an Australian with that win. Just bombs one. And it'll be a touchback. Trey Palmer back for it. Had no chance. So the defense rises up. LSU survives the block punt. Still scoreless and just underway.
studios with a Rocket Mortgage studio update. People feared perhaps a letdown from Texas A&M. Zach Calzada to Anaya Smith said it's not going to happen here. 7-0 early on the road against Missouri. What about Auburn? Good Bo Nix early against Arkansas. The touchdown. Auburn up 7-0 over Woo Pig, who's driving. Sean?
All right, Matt, thank you. Here, no score. LSU had a punt block, still went forward 22 yards. Good to see Anthony Bradford back in at left tackle, injured on the opening possession. From their own 20, the LSU Tigers, led by the sophomore Max Johnson, 20 years old, 6'5", 219-pounder. Ty Davis Price got 2 on first down. Time for today's weekend wake-up, brought to you by Wendy's Breakfast. And it is a wake-up call here. This is a just after 11 a.m. local time start. Later today, see how Iowa handles the big win last week against Penn State. Will they take care of business against Purdue? And big one in the SEC, undefeated Kentucky and undefeated and #1 Georgia. Straight ahead, Ty Davis Price again to the 26. It'll be 3rd down and 4.
Right now, LSU showing some patience with their run game, even though that's just been a problem. I mean, you take a look, those are not LSU typical numbers running the football. I mean, for years, they've always been able to do that. When you get those triple digits in your FBS rank, that is not good, and that's just not normal for LSU football.
Only teams that have rushed for fewer yards per game in the country: Arkansas State, Bowling Green, and Mississippi State. And of course, Mike Leach doesn't even try to run the ball. 4-man rush. Johnson gets it off, and it is incomplete.
That looked like Elam caught it, but I'll tell you what, Kaiir Elam missed the last 3 games. He is an elite boundary cornerback, and throwing against him is dangerous. I mean, that ball was low. There was no way either guy was going to catch it. But Kaiir Elam is one of the best cover corner guys in this conference. You're better off throwing away from number 5.
Max Johnson leans so heavily on Butte. Be interesting to see who becomes the primary receiver. Low line drive punt. It is muffed and then retrieved by Xavier Anderson. Low kick. Avery Atkins trying to keep it out of that gusty breeze. Just a 31-yard punt.
Well, Sean, Damone Clark is one of the most respected leaders on this LSU team. He told me he noticed that team morale was down after a rash of injuries and 2 straight losses. So he called a players-only meeting on Monday, and he challenged his teammates to continue to fight, not just for each other, but for their coaches as well. He assured me there is no quit in this team. Guys are not jumping ship, saying we have a lot to play for, but most importantly, we want to prove to ourselves that we won't give up in the face of adversity. We know our backs are against the wall, and we are going to continue to fight. Sean?
Andre Anthony is an injured defensive end, also a big part of that meeting. Coach O singled him out as well. Ed Ogeron said our team was on fire in practice this week. It was our best week of practice, even with all the speculation swirling about his future. High throw. Jones trying to get it to Xavier Henderson. And a lot of injured starters. They have 2 All-American corners. Stingley played in 3 games. Eli Ricks played until last week's game, and in the last week's game aggravated a shoulder injury that's been problematic back to high school. Those are 2 All-American cornerbacks on the sideline, and you saw the list: Ali Gay, Joseph Evans, we mentioned Andre Anthony. Major Burns won't play today. After the play fake, Jones pass caught, 1st down to the LSU 46-yard line. Kamari Gamble, the tight end.
Nice job that time by Emory Jones, showing patience in the pocket. Watch this protection, has plenty of time, waits for that crossing route as tight end. The thing about this Florida receiving and tight end group, they are a bunch of big bodies, big targets for the quarterbacks to throw to. Gamble at 6'4", 245, makes the catch there.
They lost Kyle Pitts, best tight end in the country. This looks like a pass. It will be a pass by Trent Whittemore. Jones, the quarterback, on the catch, and he's inside the 25-yard line. Dan Mullen, the head coach, who's also the play caller, into the bag of tricks early, successfully so.
Always have to be ready for kind of funky plays from Dan Mullen. He calls one early here. Whittemore has really become kind of a little bit of everything for this team. Excellent receiver, possession receiver, and showed his arm on that one.
On first down after a 22-yard gain, Jones on target. Nice catch by Rick Wells, chopped down immediately by Jay Ward. But it's another first down on a 13-yard play.
Interesting on the second possession of the game, Dan Mullen going to the passing attack. They come in as the third leading rushing team. LSU putting a lot of guys in the box to stop the run. Second possession, letting Emory Jones air it out.
Here's Jones on the run, tackled from behind as he approached the 5-yard line. Micah Baskerville the stop for LSU. They spot it back on the 7.
This LSU team gave up 330 yards rushing to Kentucky a week ago. Florida with their running quarterbacks, a great challenge again this week.
I'm surprised how much they've thrown the ball so far. There is a touchdown for Dameon Pierce. They use 3 different running backs, but when they get down close, it's usually Pierce. That's his 8th rushing touchdown of the season, a 6-yard score.
Just inside zone run, just good push by that offensive line and a nice read by Pierce. You can hit that in a lot of different places. Did a nice job sitting right in behind his offensive line and then getting the football in the end zone.
Jace Chrisman for the extra point, and it is no good.
Well, blocked extra point is what possibly cost them a chance to win the Alabama game earlier in the year. And it keeps them from putting 7 on the board here early in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, the problem with the extra point against Alabama meant they had to go for 2 later in the game. Neil Farrell, the block.
ESPN College Football is presented by Marathon, driven forward, and in part by the new Coke Zero Sugar, now even more delicious.
Career long 53, snap and hold are good. Did he get all of that? It's right down the middle, and it is good from 57 yards. That was last season. Kay York, the school record. 57-yard field goal through the fog in Gainesville to give LSU an unlikely win. They went there as 23-point underdogs. Wild game, featured 6 lead changes. Florida actually had a chance to win it on an Evan McPherson field goal from 51, but he missed. At the very end of the game, Trey Palmer brings the kickoff back to the 20. And Todd, you were right on this play. It looked like Florida had LSU stop, was going to force a punt with under 2 minutes to go, and then a play that will be remembered for a long time. Marco Wilson throws the shoe of Cole Taylor. It's a 15-yard penalty. Kept the drive alive and set up the heroics by York, who has an incredibly strong leg.
Cade York, also school record, 12 field goals over 50 yards, right?
Yeah, he set the school record here as well, the stadium record, earlier this year. And he kicked a 55-yard field goal. Ty Davis Price, the ball carrier. Molly McGrath.
Well, Sean, I asked Dameon Pierce what he remembers most from that loss to LSU. He was refreshingly honest. He said, the shoe. He said Coach Dan Mullen pointed to that crucial mistake this week, told them to handle this hostile environment with maturity. Don't let silly mistakes cost them the game. And the biggest point of emphasis in practice this week, avoiding penalties, especially on the offensive line. You remember what happened last time they were on the road.
Yeah, they had 8 false start penalties when they played and lost at Kentucky a couple weeks ago.
15 penalties total. Max Johnson in trouble and thrown down at the line of scrimmage by Tyron Hopper.
Yeah, this Florida defense, I think it's as good as I've seen them play in the last few years, and they've been good against the run. Great improvement in their run defense and the scoring defense. A year ago, they gave up 30 points a game, down to 16.5 points a game this year for Todd Grantham. They have been very solid. They added a couple grad transfers on the defensive line, and it's really helped give them depth up there in the run game.
Particularly improved in run defense. Max Johnson, deep throw into coverage, and it's incomplete. Trying to get it to Jontre Kirkland. And well covered by Rashad Torrance and Trevez Johnson.
Yeah, it was a good throw. It was a good route, but a great play by the safety Torrance. Watch number 22 come over at the point of the catch and knock the ball out. I mean, it's a good throw. It's right in between the two defenders. And Torrance there to make the play. Again, LSU playing with a lot of young, different receivers. Are going to have to step up and make plays like that to give them a chance to win.
They already blocked one punt that wound up going 22 yards. Good decision by Dan Mullen to defer, because the kicking into the wind has been a problem here for Avery Atkins in the first quarter. That punt went 31 yards. You're watching college football presented by Marathon.
College football studio. Another update on Texas A&M. For reference, Isaiah Spiller had just 46 rushing yards last week against Alabama. This touchdown was 48. It is all Aggies, 14-0 over Missouri.
Boy, they had been one of the most disappointing teams in the country. Their season has turned around back in the right direction, it seems, with the win against Alabama. Anthony Richardson is in at quarterback now. He hands off to Naquan Wright. Dan Mullen has been using two quarterbacks. Richardson, a redshirt freshman from Gainesville Eastside High School. And in the words of Coach Mullen, a special talent.
Yeah. Well, he's bigger than Emory Jones. He's probably faster. He's probably more a run first, pass second guy, but he has some unique abilities, and very exciting player the first couple weeks of the season for this Gator offense. You know, he had accounted for 3 touchdowns of over 70 yards in those first 2 weeks. Then he hurt his hamstring. You kind of see they're both dual threat guys. Richardson did not play in the Alabama game or the Tennessee game.
They are 3rd and 4th, as you saw in the graphic, among rushing quarterbacks in the country, behind only Christian Anderson of Army, Malik Willis of Liberty. They're the 2 leading rushers on the team. Richardson dropped for a loss, tried to turn the corner to his left, and Sony Fonua dropped him back at the 49-yard line.
You know, when we talked to Durante Jones, the defensive coordinator for LSU, he said, we know when Richardson comes in, he's coming in to keep it first, to run first. They're kind of locked into that. LSU very ready for the quarterback run on that 3rd down play, and got the stop.
Durante Jones, first year here, he plays Bo Pelini. Jones was on the Minnesota Vikings staff a year ago. Good punt by Crawshaw with the win, and a fair catch made by Trey Palmer. And again, poor field position to start for LSU. Don't forget to check out the Great Clips Command Center broadcast of this game. It's streaming right now. That's what it looks like on ESPN3 and the ESPN app. Lots of great statistical information. A couple of different views of the game. And of course, this is the always popular AT&T 5G Skycam. We're going to look at this play from the AT&T 5G Skycam. 1st and 10, LSU from its own 10. Max Johnson with Ty Davis Price, the running back. And a nice run, nice view from Skycam of a good block by Jack Mashburn, the backup tight end. 10-yard gain and an LSU first down.
On the film that I've watched, I think that's has been LSU's best run. It's kind of a counter play. They pull the backside guard and the lead tight end. And Price just has a good feel for running that play. They also have some good play action pass off of that counter action.
Another good gain on first down. For much of the year, they've been averaging less than 2 yards per first down play. Tough to sustain offense when that happens. Davis Price tackled by Javon Dexter.
They really felt like their offensive line took a step forward in the second half against Kentucky. That was their best running game by far. Unfortunately, it was their worst run defense game of the season against the Wildcats. But from an offensive standpoint, they really felt like the offensive line gelled better than they had at any point in the running game.
On 2nd and 3, Johnson dumps it in the flat for the tight end, Besh. Jack Besh out across the 35 down at the 37, taken down by Rashad Torrance, a gain of 10.
It's the second time we've seen this play already. Little bootleg, little quick throw, and Besh is listed as a tight end, but he plays and moves more like a wide receiver. He's 218 pounds. He can run. He's got some toughness, but he's really like a big wide receiver more than an end-of-the-line tight end.
Lafayette, Louisiana. Jake Peets, the coordinator, raving about his feel for the game. Look out. Johnson held on to it too long, and he gets smothered. And there is a flag down. It's a sack, but there are actually 2 flags down, one along each sideline. Zach Carter with the sack, and he leads the conference in sacks with 5.5 entering today. Alex Moore, the referee, leading this SEC crew.
Well, this was a strange play. It was max protection. They kept the tight ends and the backs in. It was a 2-man route, but it ended up only being a 1-man route because number 8, Malik Neighbors, looked like he didn't know.
Offense, 2 men moving without getting set. That penalty's declined. 2nd down.
Watch now here's the 2 receivers. Everybody else is staying in the block. Malik Neighbors, number 8, looks like he's going to kind of block, like he thinks it's a run. He's not even looking to run a pass route, and nobody was open. There were 4 defenders, 2 receivers, and they were penalized anyway.
And the pass dropped. Tried to throw it out quickly to Trey Palmer. Very speedy wide receiver. Dangerous kickoff and punt returner. And they're still searching for options in the absence of Keyshawn Butte. 3rd down and 15, 6-0 Florida. They've scored a touchdown, had the extra point block. We're down to 2.5 to go in the opening quarter. A lot of empty seats here at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge. Nice throw by Johnson. And a first down. The hit knocked Jeray Jenkins forward and helped him pick up the yardage he needed to make with a gain of 16.
Yeah, good protection this time. Johnson has a nice pocket, steps up, delivers the ball, and Jenkins with some strength at the end of that catch to get the first down.
Cam Wire back in at left tackle. We've seen both he and Anthony Bradford at left tackle. Out of the pistol now with Davis Price, the running back. He got back to the line, and that's all. Here's Matt Barry in the studio.
Check it in on Michigan State in that defense taking on Rutgers down, or Indiana rather, down 3-0 early. Cal Halliday. That's a Big Ten linebacker right there. 7-3 Sparty early.
Undefeated Sparty.
Yeah.
2nd and 10 here for LSU. Josh Williams, the ball carrier. We talked to Jake Peets yesterday. He said we're going to get Josh Williams more involved this week. There's the offensive coordinator who came over after a couple of years with the Carolina Panthers for Matt Rule. He has tremendous appreciation for Matt Rule. Also worked once for Nick Saban at Alabama. So both of those men talk all the time about the process.
Yeah.
And he's a big believer, is Peets, in the importance of process. This is a work in progress. He's obviously close with Joe Brady, who was the offensive coordinator here at LSU 2 years ago when they won the national title. He's now with the Panthers. There's a nice run by Davis Price. Powerful run all the way to the 36-yard line of Florida. Gain of 12 and another first down.
Well, watch the push. Watch Ed Ingram right here, the left guard. This is inside zone, but watch number 70 get the push, and Price gets right behind his left guard.
LSU goes quickly, and the ball a little bit underthrown, and they had a touchdown. Malik Neighbors was open. The throw into the wind And it fluttered, and it gave Jadarius Perkins time to get there and knock it down.
Yeah, I think it's the wind. And the point I mentioned before, the thing about Max Johnson, he doesn't have a great deep ball. If he doesn't throw it early and get it out there, sometimes that ball hangs on him. And that time, they had a golden opportunity for a touchdown.
Nice drive, started from their own 10. They'll have the wind at their backs. In the second quarter, Johnson wanted to throw it short, then threw it into traffic, and it is caught.
Wow.
It got through to Malik Neighbors, the freshman from Youngsville, Louisiana, just his 8th catch of the year.
Well, they had that same action with Best going out quickly into the flat. Florida covered that. And Max Johnson elected to go down the field. A very tough throw, a dangerous throw, kind of back across his body. But they got the completion.
Rashad Torrance down on the field. Some of the fans booing. Shades of last week, Penn State at Iowa.
See, look, he wanted to go there early, had to stop, somehow got it beyond the outstretched hand of Brenton Cox, number 1, the linebacker who had dropped into coverage. And now Torrance, their starting safety, is down.
Walking off, and because he's walking without a problem, seemingly, some of the boo birds are heard again.
Well, LSU did go tempo the last first down. After they converted on the run, they went tempo and tried to take the shot at the end zone for the touchdown. And they just converted on that Johnson completion.
We're looking for who might step up with Boutte out for the rest of the season. The coaches, Jake Peets, talked about Malik Neighbors yesterday, said he had a very good training camp, but was hurt in camp and is just working his way back into full health. LSU without Kayshon Boutte for the rest of the year. Ankle injury last week at Kentucky. End of 1 in Baton Rouge. It's 6-0 Florida. On ABC today at 3:30, second-ranked Iowa hosting Purdue. And then at 7:30 this evening, TCU and number 4 Oklahoma. Off that wild win in the Red River Showdown against Texas, down by 21, rallied to beat the Longhorns 55-48 in the process, creating a quarterback controversy. Spencer Rattler and Caleb Williams. Williams came in relief and led them to victory. Ty Davis-Price outside and has the LSU first down against this Florida defense. And you mentioned, Todd, much better than a year ago. Over the last 16 quarters now in SEC play, Todd Grantham's defense has given up just 37 points. Shut out Vanderbilt last week, shut out LSU in the first quarter today. Oh, excuse me, not a first down. It was the yellow line on the field. Not now. That's the line to make. That's the end zone to make. Touchdown, Ty Davis-Price.
Well, this is the best that LSU has looked running the football. Some of the second half of the Kentucky game, and now through the first quarter of the Florida game against 2 good defensive football teams. This is a different looking LSU run game that we're seeing.
Cade York for the extra point and the lead. Avery Atkins is the holder. And that kick is good. 18-yard touchdown run by Ty Davis-Price, who had 2 rushing scores for Coach O last week in Lexington, Kentucky.
3 guys to keep an eye on: the tight end, the backside guard, and the tackle. This is that counter play. I said I think it's their best run play. Watch the pulling guard, the pulling tackle, the tight end. All 3 get fitted on their blocks, and Price is able to walk into the end zone untouched.
Well, it's been a long week of swirling speculation. Rough loss last week at Lexington, Kentucky. As Coach O said about that game, we were embarrassed.
Yeah.
They ran for 330 yards on the Tigers, as he said. lots of headlines about the current situation and the coach's future. We talked with him yesterday. He's very candid about it. He said, no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay. I just told my players to focus on themselves. I don't want it to distract them from trying to win games and their college experience. No matter what happens, I'll be fine. But you get the sense, Todd, that this is over for him here. I can't imagine, unless they win the vast majority of their games against a very tough schedule the rest of the way, it sounds like it's just about a foregone conclusion that his tenure here is over.
Yeah, and you know, as a son of a coach and a son of a coach who's been fired, you know that this is hard. You know, and you think about it, he's had success other than, you know, even after other than the championship year. He's never had a losing season in the SEC. He had other top 25 finishes. The problem is, since that undefeated team in 2019, they're 8-8. They were 5-5 last year. They're 3-3 this year, and that just is not good enough for the people here in Baton Rouge.
Well, Ed grew up in this state. He loves the Tigers. As he said, I know what the expectations are here. Doesn't mean that they're always fair or reasonable. His team has the lead. He said they would play hard. The players said that as well, and they have. Even last week in that loss, they played much better in the second half. Clearly fought to the end. Long pass, incomplete. Emory Jones in Florida going into the wind on offense for the first time. He's trying to get it to Trent Whittemore. There are the numbers you talked about, but you know, 15-0, Joe Burrow at quarterback, and an incredible cast around him, particularly on offense. But 8-8 since. Again, last year a COVID season. They went 5-5. But that 8-8 mark is the second worst ever through the next 16 games by a national champion. During the poll there, Jones got splattered from behind as he threw it, and it falls incomplete. B.J. Ojulari hit the quarterback in the back.
Well, BJ is leading the team in sacks and tackles for loss and quarterback pressures. He's just going to beat the left tackle. Richard Garage gets to the quarterback and forces the incomplete, brings up 3rd and 10. So inspired offense in the running game, inspired defense right now by the LSU Tigers, trying to get a 3-and-out.
Another motivating factor that Coach O talked about. This is a very spirited rivalry. Didn't want to use the word hate yesterday, but he came about as close as you can to saying it without saying it. And a terrific tackle in the open field. Dwight McLaughlin takes down Jaquavian Frazier's, well short of the first down marker. And now Florida will have to punt for the first time today into the wind.
Well, you're going to see pretty good zone coverage. Force the throw underneath and then make a sure tackle in space and force the punt. That was an outstanding defensive possession that time for the LSU Tigers.
Jeremy Crawshaw punted to Trey Palmer, who seems very deep for this punt given how hard that wind's blowing. And sure enough, the ball comes up well short of where he is. Wobbly nose up kick that will be spotted. Well, the official still walking at the 35-yard line. 39-yard punt. And here's the mark that we mentioned, 8-8 since they won the national championship game against Clemson in New Orleans, and only TCU fared worse in its next 16 games after a national title. And you have to go all the way back to 1938 for that.
Well, and the toughest thing for Coach Orgeron right now is the fact that the current athletic director did not hire him. And, you know, he came from elsewhere, and most athletic directors like to make their own decisions at a program like this. So it's going to be very difficult, I think, for Coach O.
$17 million buyout if they want to replace him. Little screen for Josh Williams, and nothing doing there. Well played by Florida, led by Tyron Harper. Has had a couple of big plays.
The one thing I will say also that Coach O and his staff has done, even though he's had to do some changing over with his staff, he himself has been an excellent recruiter. He's always been a great recruiter. LSU is a pretty easy place to recruit too, but him being a native son, he has brought some good talent in recruiting classes into this program.
Another short throw that's blasted. Trevez Johnson this time dumps Malik Neighbors.
Now back-to-back plays by this Florida defense, reading the short, quick routes and closing quickly on the football. Trevez Johnson with a hit on that one.
And to your point, Todd, there's a lot to recruit to here. Passionate fan base, although it is almost jarring to be here and see this many empty seats. And you asked Coach O, well, is the speculation about your future affecting recruiting? He said no. We're having an excellent class, and the players are coming here because it's LSU.
Yeah.
Max Johnson got away from the traffic, throws it, caught, and that was caught in traffic, and now off to the races. Brian Thomas all the way. Touchdown, Tigers. There is a flag back at the 23-yard line. This might come a long way back.
It's number 61. So third down.
Cameron Wire, part of that revolving door at left tackle, guilty of holding Brenton Cox.
Well, the quarterback leaves the pocket, and when that happened, you can see the hands on Brenton Cox, but it becomes amplified when the quarterback leaves the pocket and a defender tries to pursue. And that's how Cameron Wire got called for that one. The play took a long time to develop as Max Johnson was flushed out of the pocket and looked downfield, and that's a big play that's coming back the other way for LSU.
Wipes out a 71-yard touchdown. Pretty clear holding call there against Wire, the junior from Gonzales, Louisiana.
Right now, Max Johnson just has to avoid a mistake. It's 3rd and forever here. Your team is in the game. You've got the lead. Be smart with the football.
Another short pass, and that's dropped by Malik Neighbors. So the short passing game on that possession didn't work very well for Max Johnson and the LSU Tigers. And they will punt with the wind for the first time today. Atkins had one block punting into the wind and clearly was trying to keep the ball low. He can hang it high. Xavier Henderson is back deep, standing at his own 40. Didn't get it up into that wind. Line drive kick. Took a good bounce. And a nice roll all the way down to the 30. 51-yard punt. Florida defense in the right place and hitting hard, but down by a point. This is the SEC on ESPN. Our director Scott Johnson asked, "Do you like apples?" I don't think that Gator is enjoying that apple. Gators down 7-6 early in the second quarter. Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, Molly McGrath here in Baton Rouge on a sunny and very breezy afternoon. Out in the flat, plenty of running room for Damian Pierce. It's still Emory Jones at quarterback. We asked Dan Mullen yesterday how you're going to manage the rotating quarterbacks tomorrow. He said usually we do 2 series for Jones, 1 for Richardson, but he said I might do 2 and 2.
The surprising thing right now for Dan Mullen and his offense, they only have 15 yards rushing. This is the 3rd leading rushing team in the country. Here's Emory Jones with a little space and a first down.
Cameron Lewis the stop. Part of that banged up secondary. 23 yards now rushing. As I mentioned, only the 2 academies, Air Force and Army, rush for more yards per game. Ethan White, who's been banged up this season, the left guard, is down.
Well, you mentioned the secondary being banged up for LSU. They've had to move some guys around with Stingley and Ricks out. Cordell Flott, who is their starting nickel, has been moved back out to corner, and now they've got Sage Ryan, number 15, in the ball game. He's a 5-star recruit, a highly touted recruit, got hurt in the preseason. This is his first game action all season, and not only is he playing, but he's starting at nickel, a very critical position in this 4-2-5 defense.
When we spoke with Durante Jones, the defensive coordinator, he said he's not worried about Ryan. Said he's very calm, very poised. This won't be too big for him. And it's a defense without all of these starters playing very well against Florida so far. I think the jarring thing, if you're an LSU fan, when we asked Durante Jones yesterday, well, when will you get some of these guys back? He said, I think Major Burns is the only player on that list who we will get back, and that's a maybe.
Yeah. And those are some really good football players that they're playing without right now on that side of the ball.
They're the best pair of corners in the country. Stingley and Ricks both earned All-American honors last year. Josh Braun has come in on the offensive line for Ethan White. Good throw by Jones. And a first down strike to the 41-yard line of LSU. Caught by Justin Shorter, the transfer from Penn State. And Cameron Lewis made the tackle.
Continues to be really good protection for Emory Jones. I mean, he's got a lot of time to survey the field, to go through his progressions. They've not run the ball that well, but they've protected the quarterback extremely well so far.
Jones keeps for about 1.5 yards. He's from LaGrange, Georgia. Heard County High School. His mother Trina has made the trip over to watch Emory play today. Emory originally committed to Ohio State. And then when Urban Meyer was no longer the head coach, he decided to consider his options. Dan Mullen had given him his first offer, scholarship-wise, when he was the head coach at Mississippi State. And wound up coming to Florida to be with Dan Mullen.
I think he's a guy who has gotten better the more he's played, Sean. You know, he was a first-time starter. He was a backup for a lot of years. Watched Kyle Trask run a very different offense the last couple years. He threw 5 interceptions in the first 3 games, maybe pressing a little bit, only 2 interceptions the last 3 games, and really has played his best football. Had a career day last week against Vanderbilt, had over 140 yards rushing against Tennessee. He's played his best football here the last 3 weeks.
Coming off a career high 273 passing in the win against Vanderbilt. 3rd down and 7. Has time, throws, incomplete, and intercepted now. Off the hands of Whittemore and picked off by Micah Baskerville. Has blockers along the near sideline. Still on his feet and finally tackled at the 27-yard line.
Well, the play was made by Cordell Flott. We talked about him getting moved from the nickel to the corner. He is in coverage on Whittemore on this play on the crossing route. 14's running the crossing route, man-to-man coverage. The ball's a little behind. Flott deflects it, and Baskerville, dropping in coverage as a linebacker, gets the interception.
And Whittemore, the intended receiver, started to walk off the field, then went down with what looks to be a left ankle injury.
See, the ball was a little bit behind. You see the end of the play kind of goes down awkwardly on the tackle by Cordell Flott. And LSU in prime field position to add to their lead.
Taco Bell welcomes you to the Live Más Student Section of the Year contest. Use hashtag Student Section Sauce to get the committee's attention. Go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell to see how your school can compete. Disappointing season so far for LSU, but still very much competing. Micah Baskerville, senior, playing in his 35th career game, has his first career interception out of Shreveport, Louisiana, and the first takeaway for the LSU D in the last 3 games.
LSU's offense now really needs to capitalize on the Emory Jones interception. They've got to find a way to get this ball in the end zone and keep this momentum going in the football game.
Baskerville returned at 51 yards off the play fake. Johnson throws to the end zone, and it is caught. A touchdown for Jeray Jenkins. Johnson family enjoying Max Johnson's touchdown pass to Jeray Jenkins. His first touchdown reception set up by the pick by Baskerville at his 51-yard return. The touchdown covers 28. And Cade York for the extra point to give the Tigers an 8-point lead with 8.5 to go till halftime.
Well, he almost doesn't get this play off. Watch the pressure right over the center as Max Jones rolls out a little bit to his left. He doesn't quite get everything on his throw, but enough on the double post to get the ball to Jeray Jenkins. It's a double post. They get the middle safety out of the field, and they attack on the first play after the turnover. I love the call by Jake Peets going for the big play right on the first down play.
Jenkins had a big game in their upset win at Florida last year. Had 4 catches for 65 and a touchdown. Brad Johnson, Jake Johnson, they know this trip very well. They have not missed an LSU game yet this year, even though Brad's coaching and Jake is the star tight end at Oconee County High School near Athens, Georgia. Jake heavily recruited by a lot of the powerhouses, considered Clemson, Oklahoma, and Florida, but decided to join his brother Max here at LSU. They are very close. Brad Johnson told me this morning it's a 596-mile drive. It takes them almost 9 hours, but they are here. A lot of times they get in the car right after their Friday night high school game ends. That's love. Avery Atkins, the kickoff is a touchback. Now I asked Brad Johnson this morning, what about all the swirling?
All right, Sean, how would Texas respond after last week against Oklahoma? I'd say pretty good. Bijan Robinson out of the flat. 17-3 Texas early over Oklahoma State. A couple of scores to pass along right now. Undefeated Michigan State down 9-7 to Indiana. Sean, my apologies for interrupting. I didn't press the button.
Nope, no worries, Matt. I didn't hear them tell me to throw it to you either, so it happens. Anthony Richardson back in, and he throws an interception. Picked off by Jay Ward. And Ward brings it back inside the 20-yard line. So interceptions on consecutive offensive plays thrown by Florida, one by each quarterback.
Well, there's good pressure. They're tracking him down. They're pulling him down to the ground. He makes a poor decision and an even poorer throw. And once again, LSU is going to be able to capitalize on great field position. The receiver Gamble was not open, and Jay Ward comes down with the interception. But I think, as much as anything, Florida has gotten away from who they are offensively in this ball game with both quarterbacks. They've thrown the ball 11 times and run it 11 times, and 2 of those 11 passes have ended up in the hands of LSU defenders. And once again now, LSU with great field position. The short field against a very good defense is what LSU wants.
Richardson throws his second interception of the season. Ward has his first pick of the year and his 4th of his career, junior from Moultrie, Georgia. Here's Trey Palmer, pulled down after a gain of a yard. Avery Helm made the stop for Florida. Well, the good news is they're perfect in the red zone. The bad news, Todd, they don't get there very often.
Right.
17 red zone possessions in your 7th game of the year is not a lot.
Well, and that's their inability to score touchdowns is what cost them the Auburn game.
Thrown into traffic and caught. Nifty throw by Johnson. That had plenty on it. Brian Thomas not getting up after he got hit hard by Rashad Torrance.
Little RPO throwing that slant over the middle, and Torrance took a big hit.
This is the SEC on ESPN. Florida and LSU. Just the fourth morning kickoff since 2008 here at Tiger Stadium. LSU arrived ready to play. Max Johnson and the Tigers 12.5-point underdogs, leading by a touchdown and looking for more. First and goal at the 7.
I think this is Ty Davis Price area.
There he goes. And he was met at the 5-yard line by Mahmoud Diabate.
He had 147 yards last week in the loss at Kentucky. He's got about 70 yards now. I think that puts him in this ball game, running very hard, downhill runner. And the balance that LSU has is what has really helped them to stake this lead, along with the turnovers.
Davis Price remains the running back. Max Johnson faked it to him and threw a touchdown to Jaray Jenkins. His second touchdown catch of the game, this one from 5 yards.
Again, it's the threat of the run. That motion in by Jenkins looked like he was going to block in the run. Then he goes back out. As you can see, the catch from the progressive pylon cam. Good timing, good throw by Max Johnson. But the threat of the run and the balance of the run and pass, LSU building a big lead.
And the extra point, good by Cade York. Jaray Jenkins, Junior, had just 10 catches all year and no touchdowns, but with Kayshon Boutte, their leading receiver and one of the best in the country, out for the rest of the year, he has stepped up in a big way today. LSU 14 points in the last minute and 47 seconds off interceptions on consecutive offensive plays by Florida.
On the interceptions, not only do they turn the ball over, they reduce the field. Both interceptions were returned into Florida territory, and LSU took advantage. Here's what I said. Now they bring him in motion. He looks like he's going to block because they've been running so well. Then he's going to go back out. The balance of run and pass has got this Florida defense a little bit on their heels, and Max Johnson taking advantage of the turnovers, the short field, and now with 21 points here in the first half for the Tiger offense.
Ball blew off the tee. That's the stunning number. LSU outrushing Florida. And I agree with you, Todd. Florida, number 3 rushing team in the country. LSU gave up 330 on the ground last week at Kentucky. And yet the play calling is exactly balanced. 11 runs and 11 passes so far for Florida. And on a very windy day when it's hard to throw the ball. It is not hard to throw it back to Matt Barry. We're going to execute very cleanly on this toss, Matt.
How about us, Sean McDonough? We nailed it. And Oklahoma State's defense nailed this execution. Jason Taylor, pick 6 for the Pokes. Offensively, they've been struggling, needed points somehow. 17-10 Texas. Sean McDonough, I throw it back to you.
All right, thank you. Emory Jones back at quarterback. And they have 4 wide receivers to his left. He tried to throw it to the boundary to the one receiver side. Came back to Rick Wells. And a good gain on first down. They get 10 and another first down. Cameron Lewis the tackle. Interceptions on consecutive plays. One thrown by Emory Jones and one thrown by Anthony Richardson. That hasn't happened at Florida in a decade. Daquan Wright Kind of a trio of running backs that rotate in. He got 7 through a nice hole. Jay Ward and Damone Clark combined on the stop, and now it looks like Florida wants to go with some tempo. Under 6 minutes to go in the half. The toss to Naquan Wright. He runs out of bounds. Looks like they're going to mark him just short of the 45-yard line. And they'll need about a half yard on 3rd down.
You know, Sean, the other thing that's interesting about Florida's approach and trying to balance out their offense, we mentioned the corners that are missing for this LSU defense, but they're also missing their top 2 defensive ends that they started the year with. They've got a couple defensive tackles that they're missing. And this is a depleted defense, not just on the outside on the perimeter. And Florida has not really attacked that or exposed that yet in the ball game.
A timeout called by LSU. Undermanned, but fighting hard. And a 12.5-point underdog leads by 15. Kick off your Week 6 NFL Sunday at 10 a.m. with the Countdown crew on ESPN and the app. Randy Moss will rank the week's best catches in You Got Moss. Then Monday Night Football caps off Week 6 on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. The Buffalo Bills in Nashville to take on the Tennessee Titans. Bills 4-1, Titans 3-1. Bills off a very impressive win against Kansas City. Highest scoring team in the AFC. A lot of people like the Buffalo Bills to go to the Super Bowl. Long way to go before we get there. 3rd down, less than a yard here for Florida. Emory Jones, the quarterback, keeps and got just enough to move the chains. We approach 5 minutes to go in the first half.
This possession looking a little bit more of what we've been accustomed to seeing Florida this year. So far in the ball game, LSU's run defense has been outstanding. They have not allowed an explosive run of 10 yards or more. Coming into the game, Florida has had 52 of those runs to this point in the year. 0 so far tonight against the Tiger defense.
Naquan Wright, the running back. Redshirt sophomore from Miami Gardens. Lead blocking for the quarterback, Emory Jones. And he crossed midfield to the 48-yard line of LSU. Another tackle for Damone Clark, who has twice as many tackles as anybody else on their team. He came into today with 68 to lead the SEC. Next on the team was 34 by his fellow linebacker, Micah Baskerville.
Runs really well. I mean, he makes plays sideline to sideline. He's a physical guy. They've had those kind of inside linebackers here over the last several years, too.
Team leader, Molly mentioned, he called a team meeting, players only, earlier in the week. Been leading defensive walkthroughs every day at 2:15, and they are paying off as B.J. Ojulari sacks Jones back at the 44-yard line.
Well, we saw him get a sack earlier, beating the left tackle outside. This time he's going to beat him to the inside using quickness. Sets him up the field, beats him inside, right to the quarterback. Emory Jones had no chance on that play because of the quickness of B.J. Ojulari.
He's the brother of Azeez Ojulari, former Georgia standout, now having a very nice rookie year with the New York Giants. Jones, little lob for a screen pass to Malik Davis. He fights across midfield, but came up well shy of the first down marker, about 5 yards short of it. And we'll see what Dan Mullen's going to do. No hesitation. He's going to send on Jeremy Crawshaw to punt. Fourth punt for Crawshaw. He ran for 28 yards on a fake punt last week against Vandy. Good kick, fair catch made by Trey Palmer. Here's Matt Berry.
All right, John, coming up on the Lexus halftime report, the big question, how would A&M handle the success after the Alabama win? Noon kickoff, sleepy situation out there in Missouri. Plus, Oklahoma State, are they for real? They've got a test against Texas this week, and Cincinnati continues to roll on. Highlights coming up. Jesse Palmer, Joey Galloway join me coming up on the Lexus halftime report.
A lot of important games in this early window today. Cincinnati needs to keep on winning, try to be undefeated, and force the playoff committee to pick them.
You know, I live in Ohio, as you know, and a lot of debate within my state about who's the best team in our state. You know, between Ohio State and Cincinnati. Ohio State starting to really put things together now in the Big Ten.
Johnson, nifty spin move. And an effective run out to the 17-yard line. Here's Molly McGrath.
Well, Sean, LSU sideline, very spirited wide receiver coach Mickey Joseph told his guys on one-on-ones, you need to hit him with your hands and you have to believe you're going to get the ball because I believe in you. He said they slapped us in the mouth early, but we need to stay aggressive, get in attack mode, and be the first to strike from now on.
Ty Davis Price. Flag thrown. He's out of bounds. Then takes a late hit out of bounds. No flag thrown there. Trevez Johnson popped him.
Well, I think they're going to get Jenkins, the wide receiver, for a hold as Davis Price cut inside his block. But nonetheless, still a positive gain before the penalty on the run play. Here's where I think the hold came in.
Offense number 10. 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
You know, that white glove on the orange jersey, when it got outside the jersey, is where the problem was. Then here's the end of the play. It's right on the line. It kind of looked like Davis Price was giving himself up, but he didn't run out of bounds.
Checked in with Matt Austin, our referee, who was watching this closely. Did not feel that should have been a late hit out of bounds. It wipes out a big gain. 2nd and 4, straight ahead. Ty Davis Price. Brenton Cox made the tackle. LSU with 2 timeouts. Wind at its back. At the very least, they'd like to get in field goal range. As Jake Peets, the offensive coordinator, said we visited yesterday, when our kicker is in the parking lot, he's in range.
Yeah. Well, what's happened in this game is LSU is winning the game at the line of scrimmage, and that has not been the case for most of the season. In all 3 losses, they got whipped at the line of scrimmage, and today they are controlling the game at the line of scrimmage.
Johnson has a man wide open. It's Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas down to the 25-yard line. That's a 49-yard play. They had a 35-yard gain wiped out, and there's flags on this play. Flag down back of the line of scrimmage.
Well,
downfield. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Problem obviously with Alex Moore's Mike. They had a lineman downfield.
I don't see a lineman downfield. Now, there might have been an alignment problem. Look at these 5 guys. Who gets downfield? The ball's thrown. There's no lineman downfield. So I don't understand. If it's not one of the 5 offensive linemen, it has to be a covered receiver that was ineligible.
And maybe that's what it was. We couldn't understand what the referee Alex Smith was saying. Alex Moore was saying because his mic was breaking up. So 2 long plays called back now. 1st and 15. LSU might be content to be conservative here and run out the clock. Johnson pulls it down. Short gain. Neither team inclined to stop the clock right now. Let's go back to the penalty.
Yeah, so let's see what we can see. I mean, we got one guy off here. You got to have.
Well, I think it would have been on the near side, the bottom side, Todd, because it was the official on the bottom side of the field who threw the flag.
Who did they say? Go ahead, Matt. Yeah.
Matt Austin, what say you?
Yeah, you're right. The second receiver from the bottom, number 11, who ends up catching the ball, he is covered up by the widest receiver, number 80.
Yep.
So one of them needs to be off the line.
Yep. Well,
Costly penalty and the right call.
There was a hold also on the left tackle. I mean, they could have called that as well, would have brought the play back. But regardless, that's 2 long pass plays that LSU has had in this first half called back because of penalties. And they still have a 15-point lead.
There's a Florida timeout. Dan Mullen wants the ball back. Second and 13. Well, you're running the risk. Their defense has been lucky to have 2 long plays called back. Conservative play call. Davis Price banged down at the 29-yard line by Jeremiah Moon and Khair Elam. And Dan Mullen will use another timeout.
Well, you use another timeout for 2 reasons. Number one, maybe you go after the punter and after the kick if you force a punt. And then number two is you try to get the ball back. You want to get some momentum because you won the toss and deferred, so you're going to get the ball to start the second half. But right now they have not had much momentum at all offensively. LSU's had all the offensive momentum in the first half.
You know, we travel around the country. We meet regularly with teams that are doing very well, teams that are having rough years, unexpectedly so, like LSU. Yesterday, everybody we talked to, coach and player demand, said there's a lot of fight in this team. Yeah. We had a great week of practice, and we're seeing it again. And I think you have to give credit to Ed Ogeron and the staff and the leadership within the players, because a lot of negativity swirling around here.
Yeah, you know, football is one of those sports where, I mean, you learn how to circle the wagons, and you learn how to kind of adapt that mentality of it's us against everyone else out there. And I think we're seeing that. We're seeing a very spirited first half performance by this LSU team. Johnson
just happy to get rid of it. Threw it behind Brian Thomas, hoping he'd come back for it. The incomplete pass saves a timeout for Florida. Now can Avery Atkins get a ball in the air with the wind? Last one was a line drive that did well on the bounce. Xavier Henderson back deep. Great kick. Drives Henderson back inside the 15. And he's chopped down at the 23. The 1 timeout for Florida going into the wind with 29 seconds to go. 53-yard punt.
Now that was a great punt. He drove that thing.
8-yard return. What do you think Florida does here? Well, try to throw it down the field or just take it to the house?
Yeah, I think you try. I think you try to see if you can get one big play, 1 first down, and then go from there. You've got the 1 timeout to work with. This first play, the first 2 plays of this drive will dictate what Dan Mullen does.
Thrown to the far sideline, very short gain by Davis, who runs out of bounds to stop the clock.
The offense today has not been really on point with the interceptions, the lack of rushing yardage. But one thing about Dan Mullen, he's one of the best play callers, and he makes adjustments at halftime as well as anybody in college football. I'm sure they'll discuss everything when they're in the locker room.
Jones over the middle, and the catch made by Rick Wells, upended by Damone Clark. They will run up quickly to the line. It was a first down to the 34-yard line. We mentioned back-to-back interceptions on consecutive plays thrown by different quarterbacks. That happened a decade ago. We don't see that very often, but we showed you the graphic. Jeff Driscoll and John Brantley for Florida on consecutive pass plays through interceptions against FAU back in 2011. That was the big sequence of this first half.
Yep. Well, again, not only did it turn the ball over, it also shortened the field because both interceptions were returned deep into Florida territory. And this LSU offense, which is running the ball better today than they have at any point this season, has capitalized on the short fields.
"14 seconds to go." It was an LSU timeout here. Max Johnson, 10 out of 18 for just 90 yards, but 2 touchdowns, and not an easy day to throw the ball with the wind gusting to about 26 miles per hour.
But 101 yards rushing in the first half for LSU, coming in averaging 83 yards a game. So their ability to run the football on this Florida defense, which has been outstanding, stopping the run, really the difference in the first half, along with those 2 turnovers.
Davis Price ran for a career high 147 last week, and the loss at Kentucky has run for 94 already, averaging 6.3 per carry today. And the prevent defense will look for LSU. Jones has a man on the sideline. It's caught, and it's Justin Shorter out of bounds with 5 seconds to go. You'd think still too far away to try a field goal into this wind after a 24-yard game, but you can try a Hail Mary into the end zone.
Yeah, you probably can get the ball to the goal line now or into the end zone. And that was a nice throw there as Dan Mullen's going to use his last timeout. Nice patience by Emory Jones, waiting for something to open up against that prevent defense. Shorter, one of those tall receivers at 6'5", the transfer from Penn State, is over there on the sideline, and Emory Jones spots his big body and makes a nice pass in between 2 LSU defenders.
Got hit hard at the end of it by Jay Ward. So they're on the 42-yard line. Ordinarily, you wouldn't think it'd be that hard for a quarterback to get the ball into the end zone from this point, but it is a gusty wind.
You do one of 2 things here. You possibly can throw a quick throw to the sideline and still have enough time to kick it, or you got to go ahead and just try to launch one and get it to the end zone. If you throw an interception and you throw your 3rd interception of the first half, if you're Florida, so what? I mean, at this point, you're just trying to make a miracle play.
LSU has 3 defensive backs back by the goal line, anticipating a Hail Mary. They put 3 receivers on the right. Jones, plenty on the throw. Beautiful spiral, corner of the end zone, and it is caught.
Oh my goodness!
For a touchdown, Justin Shorter, with no time remaining in the half. A 42-yard score.
Well, nobody for LSU even made an attempt to go for the football. Normally, you tell those defenders just go up and knock it down. And Justin Shorter didn't even have to jump for the catch. Emory Jones gets the ball clearly to the end zone. Look at these 3 defenders. Nobody makes a play on the football. You have to go up and try to knock that ball away if you're on defense. And Emory Jones to Justin Shorter, as we see on the Progressive Pylon cam, come away with the touchdown on the last play of the half.
77 yards in 29 seconds into a gusty wind. LSU asked for a timeout.
Well, the only question is whether his
LSU
foot was
head coach
inbounds.
is challenging the ruling of the field of a completed catch. The previous play is under further review.
The catch was made. The only question was his foot inbounds or out of bounds when he made the catch? It's got to be in the yellow.
Well,
there's the foot down.
Foot's down.
Yeah, clearly.
Gerald Hodges is the replay official.
But how do you put 3 defenders back on the goal line? They're already in the end zone, and none of those 3 make an attempt to go up and play on the ball.
What was number 31, Cameron Lewis, doing there on the left side of your screen now?
It was almost like they were more concerned with boxing out the receivers as opposed to making a play on the ball. But you're not going for an interception there. You're just trying to go up and knock the ball away. You've got 3 guys back there, and nobody makes a play on the football.
Well, part of the problem for LSU, none of those 3 guys were named Derek Stingley or Eli Ricks.
That's true.
2 starting cornerbacks. two of the best in the country.
After review, the ruling of a touchdown is confirmed. LSU is charged their third and final charge timeout. In addition, LSU has no more challenges remaining for the game.
That was really a waste.
Yeah. Well, and for Florida and Dan Mullen, I mean, it couldn't have worked out any better. You got whipped in the first half. You wanted to create some momentum to take into the locker room. You get more than that with the touchdown, and you get the ball to start the third quarter. I mean, this is the perfect setup for Dan Mullen to take his team into the locker room.
Jace Christman try to get them back within one score, making it an 8-point game. 66 yards combined on those last two catches of the half by Justin Shorter, including the touchdown. Well, a lot of coaches would have taken a knee that deep in their own territory going into this strong win. Not Dan Mullen. His belief in his offense is rewarded. But perhaps a momentum-changing touchdown. Here's Molly McGrath.
Coach, you challenged that touchdown. What'd you see on that play?
He caught it, and, but I had one time out last. I wanted to challenge. I didn't want to take a shot. Our guys are playing very well. It's a shame we gave them that big play at the end. I'm very proud of the way the Tigers are playing right now.
You told us Dan Mullen, one of the best offensive play callers in the country. He gets better as the game goes on. What does your defense need to do when they get the ball to start the second half?
We got to make sure from upstairs that we see some holes, and we got to fill those holes. We can't give him the same look every time. He's going to have an excellent second half game plan, but so are we.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Go Tigers.
At the half, LSU 21, Florida 13. Let's send you to the studio now. Here's the Lexus halftime report.
Sean McDonough, yes, thank you. We're going to set an end to the half to Florida. Joey, does that get them in the game? Do they win it?
I'm going with LSU. They're going to stick with it.
I'm going to go Gators. Run the ball better in the second half. They steal the game.
All right, second half after this.
You're watching college football presented by Marathon. And this is the SEC on ESPN, Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. 21-13, LSU leads. The Tigers will kick off to begin the second half. They had the edge of play for most of that first half, but as we take a look at today's More Driven Moment brought to you by Goodyear, Todd Blackledge, this one could be a momentum changer, the last play of the first half.
Yeah, I mean, you know, probably the lowest percentage play in all of football to Hail Mary, but nice throw by Emory Jones and three LSU defenders there not making a play on the football. Remember, Emory Jones had a 24-yard completion before that play to even have a chance to throw it to the end zone, and Florida capitalized right at the end of the half.
Avery Atkins kicking off. And Florida will start from the 25-yard line. We welcome you back to Baton Rouge. Sean McDonough and Todd Blackledge. We talked about that was a big play at the end of the half. You have to give Dan Mullen credit for the decision to try to move the ball down the field with 29 seconds to go. But I think Ed Ogeron really hit the nail on the head, too, in his chat with Molly McGrath. He's pleased with the way his team played. You can't have that one play mess it up going forward.
Absolutely. They did all the things that they haven't been doing. They were able to run the football and stop the run. And they did that better than Florida in the first half. They only had 6 takeaways coming into today. They had 2 interceptions that set up their offense. So Ed Ogeron's right. His team played very well. The problem is it's a really talented team on the other side of the ball, and there's 30 minutes left in the football game.
Emory Jones carried for a yard. He has just 12 yards rushing. Averages just under 80 per game. Malik Davis, the running back. Malik Davis, a wheel route and open down the sideline, couldn't catch it. Ball a little bit low, but it was there. And Davis, ordinarily sure-handed, he caught 31 passes last year. They haven't thrown the ball to him anywhere near as much this season.
Well, Sean, Florida head coach Dan Mullen said that touchdown at the end of the half was invaluable for the confidence of his team. He said he noticed his players' shoulders were sagging, their confidence was hurt, but then it completely changed after that touchdown, and players came out of the locker room with energy and intensity, yelling in each other's faces. And Mullen said, this drive, the key, make the plays that are there, and for goodness sakes, do not turn the ball over. Sean.
They played a penalty-free first half. That had been a problem. There's the third interception for LSU. Dwight McLaughlin down the sideline. McLaughlin into the end zone. Touchdown, Tigers. Sophomore from Houston getting the opportunity for more playing time without Stingley and Ricks, and that's the first interception of his season.
Well, Molly just said, Dan Mullen said, for goodness sakes, don't turn the ball over again. Not only did they turn it over again, it got returned for a touchdown.
And Cade York adds the extra point. Well, if Florida gained momentum on the last play of the half, it didn't last for very long.
Watch as Emory Jones moves out of the pocket. McLaughlin is going to be right there. He's going to just step in. McLaughlin and intercepted because Emory Jones was drifting to his left. The ball was thrown a little bit late, a little bit behind his receiver. He didn't have his feet set well under him. McLaughlin's able to come right underneath it and intercept the football and then get it to the end zone. The third LSU interception, all returned for positive yardage. This one returned for a score. That kind of wipes out that Hail Mary right at the end of the half. Any momentum Florida had and gained from that Hail Mary at the end of the first half just got wiped out in one play of the third quarter.
3 interceptions, all of them turned into touchdowns. That one directly. Jones has thrown 2 of the picks and Anthony Richardson the other.
Now they have capitalized on those turnovers today. Obviously the last one, a direct turnover to a touchdown, but now that's what got Florida beat at Kentucky also. They had a blocked field goal return for a touchdown. They also had an interception in the fourth quarter thrown deep in their own territory that set Kentucky up for a short touchdown run. Turnovers have been their undoing today as well.
Wow, off the upright. And that's still into the breeze. Blockern's first career interception. Sophomore, and here's Richardson coming back in. Richardson didn't play a lot in the first half. He carried once for -2 yards.
I think if you're Dan Mullen, I mean, neither one of them have lit it up. And right now he's making the decision based on looking in the eyes of these two guys and trying to figure out who's going to give him the best chance to come back in the football game.
He zips one incomplete. Broken up by Darren Evans, trying to get it to Justin Shorter. Richardson 0 for 1 passing in the first half with an interception.
You know, one thing when Dan Mullen talked to us about his offense yesterday, he said the one thing we might be lacking on our offense this year that we had last year, we don't have elite speed on the outside. And you can tell LSU very comfortable playing man coverage.
Richardson throwing deep and off the hand of Shorter. Raydarius Jones, sophomore, had the coverage. Another guy wouldn't be playing as much. They didn't have so many injuries in the secondary. There is a flag down.
Yeah, really dumb play by Jones at the end of the play. He's in good position for coverage, and he's going to get, I think, probably a taunting call at the end of this play.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 29, taunting, his first. This is a 15-yard penalty and also includes an automatic first down.
Just no need for it. I mean, he makes a good play. He did his job. And then he stands over the receiver, and they're going to call that every time. It's just, it's a foolish penalty that negates a big-time play. And you give Florida a little bit of momentum.
And coaches around the country have certainly now enough clips to show their team of how taunting is being called like that every time. You do that, it's going to get flagged. We've seen it over and over again this year. Damian Pierce, the ball carrier. Micah Baskerville on a stop for LSU. Second down and 7 for Florida. With Anthony Richardson at quarterback. He is 6'4", 236. Redshirt freshman from Gainesville. Pitches it off for Pierce. He crosses midfield with a first down to the 48. Simone Clark, the hit.
One thing we haven't seen from either Florida quarterback, but it's a staple of Dan Mullen's offense, kind of started it with Tim Tebow, is the little play where the quarterback fakes like he's going to run, takes a couple steps towards the line of scrimmage, and then pulls up and throws, usually to a back going down the seam. We alert for that in the second half.
Longest running play of the day, 9 yards. It was a wide open man. Pierce out of the backfield, and Pierce down near the 20. Great call, Todd. They'll mark it at the 21-yard line.
You just have to expect this. He fakes the run, then he pulls up. Meanwhile, that back gets lost running down the seam of the field, and Richardson hits him with a big play.
To Pierce for 27 yards. Damien's a senior from Bainbridge, Georgia. Florida on the move. From the 21, 1st and 10. Pierce stacked up just shy of the 15-yard line. B.J. Ojolari in there for LSU.
This is a good answer by Florida right here. You know, after the heartbreaking interception return for a touchdown, you lose the momentum that you had coming out of the locker room, and now Dan Mullen makes the switch to Anthony Richardson. The second possession of the third quarter, and they're on the move in the red zone.
Richardson, quick set and a bullet. Boy, you can see the strong arm that he has. He fired another one to Justin Shorter. Cordell Flott the tackle, but it's 1st and goal. Florida at the 5 after a pickup of 11.
Well, what these Florida receivers, some of them may lack in flat-out speed, they make up for in terms of size, and big targets like that in the red zone. I mean, you're basically, it's like having a bunch of tight ends out there, big-bodied receivers that you can throw to near the goal line.
Quarterback draw. Richardson into the end zone with a Gators touchdown.
Nice double team by the center and the right guard. Take a look right here, center and right guard. It's a quarterback draw, design run all the way. He follows that double team right into the end zone. And an impressive answer drive by an Anthony Richardson-led Florida offense.
Helped along by the taunting penalty. They go 75 yards in 8 plays, and a little over 3 minutes to do it. They're still coaching up with Darius Jones. Gonna go for 2 now. Well, this is strange. If you don't get it, you're still down by 2 scores. Richardson. And of course, if you do get it, you're down by 7. Now, usually he comes in for a series, then Jones comes back in. Watching that drive, I think you stick with that guy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Dan Mullen looked in the eyes of his quarterbacks and said, who can help us win in the second half? And I think he found it in Anthony Richardson.
Darius Jones helped them on that drive. Standing over one thing, then climbing over him just exacerbated it. And Richardson, the man of the hour for the Gators. Time for today's Aflac trivia question. Ed Ogeron of LSU, one of 5 active head coaches to win a national title. You want to know who are the other 4? Aflac. Well done, Todd. I know you know the answer to this because you saw it last night. It'll be a touchback off the foot of Jace Christman. I think this is pretty easy. Obviously, Nick Saban, Dabo Sweeney. Took a minute or 2 to come up with the others. Mack Brown and Jimbo Fisher. Mack Brown then at Texas, Jimbo then at Florida State. Mack now at North Carolina. Jimbo at Texas A&M, where of course he was hired by Scott Woodward. Now the athletic director here at LSU, his alma mater. The athletic director is a Baton Rouge native. Johnson, after the run fake, throws the quick slant for a first down. 11-yard gain to Brian Thomas with Kaiir Elam in coverage, and LSU is going to go quickly to the line. There's the athletic director, who did not hire Ed Ogeron. He did hire Jimbo, and he did hire Chris Peterson, another splash hire, when he was at Washington. On target, Johnson to Malik Neighbors, who broke a tackle and got to the Florida 40-yard line. Though there were 21 points scored in this game without the LSU offense being on the field. Florida scored twice, and then of course the LSU defense scored here in this third quarter.
But looking sharp in their first possession out of the locker room. A couple nice passes by Max Johnson.
About 45 minutes without having the ball, and they're going to take that ball into the end zone again. Ty Davis Price, touchdown LSU from 40 yards.
The counter trap play again. They pull the backside guard and tackle. The kick out, the lead through. Another nice block by Jack Mashburn, the tight end, number 82. And it's a run to daylight for Ty Davis Price. And again, the LSU running game in this ball game, something they have not seen all season.
They felt it came to life in the second half last week in Kentucky. Jake Peets, the offensive coordinator, told us at the half the conversation was enough of this. That is something Todd has never said at a restaurant during Taste of the Town. We'll have that for you when we come back to Baton Rouge.
Elsie's Plate and Pie was opened nearly 4 years ago by Paul Dupre, and he named the place after his grandmother, who was well known throughout Lafourche Parish for her amazing pies. Now I have plates and pies here. This is a Cajun crawfish queso that's served with homemade fried pork skins for dipping. As for the pies, this is a seafood pot pie with crawfish, blue crab, Gulf shrimp, and a roasted red pepper cream baked in a flaky crust. For my sweet tooth, s'mores pie, and an LSU game day special, Eye of the Tiger pie. Taste of the Town, welcome home.
Did you eat all of that? I mean, every week you eat everything that we see on screen. Please tell me you didn't this week.
I had some help with all of that. I did my part, but I had some help. I had some friends with me to help with some of that.
There's some great food in this part of the country. Lots to choose from for Taste of the Town this week. The kickoff's a touchback. LSU leading by 14. Did you bring some samples?
I didn't bring any plates, but I brought you some pie. So this is a banana pudding pie because I think you like banana pudding.
Yeah,
I thought you said.
I don't know where you heard that, but
this is the game day special. This is the Eye of the Tiger lemon pie with the purple. It's a blueberry cream, turns purple.
We'll try
those.
Those
are both for you.
Although does that make us biased? They have Gator pie. I think we have equal time statutes.
We're in Baton Rouge, so it's Eye of the Tiger pie.
When we go to Gainesville, we'll have Gator pie.
Yeah,
looks delicious. They both look really good. It is still Richardson at quarterback, and he's on target again for another big gainer. Back and forth these two teams go. That's Kamari Gamble, the tight end, marked out of bounds at the 37-yard line.
The little pause, the little delay by Gamble is what fooled the LSU defense. Clark makes the tackle, but not till he's well downfield. Well-designed play and beautifully executed by Anthony Richardson.
Who led them down the field on the last drive. Now they mix in the straight ahead run after the 38-yard play to Gamble. It's Naquan Wright to the 34 for a 33-yard line, a gain of 4.
You know, Ed Orgeron told Molly about how much he respects Dan Mullen as a play caller and adjustments he would make at halftime. Looks like a completely different offense for the Gators here in the second half after that Emory Jones interception.
And here's more creativity. They flip it on the end around to Jacob Copeland. and he breaks tackles, refusing to go down until he's inside the 15-yard line.
When you don't tackle with wrapping your arms, it's hard to get guys to the ground. I mean, this is all that happens. It's an end around, well executed, but watch. People just come up and thump Copeland. They don't wrap their arms. They just try to knock him down by hitting him. And to Copeland's credit, he just bounces off like a pinball and keeps going forward.
Good for a 19-yard gain. Very quickly in just 3 plays. Florida to the 14-yard line. Richardson to the end zone, and it's incomplete. Looked like Gamble might have a touchdown. Darren Evans there for LSU.
Yeah, this was just a matter of inches. I mean, Darren Evans is going to get fingers on the ball right at the end. It goes through the hands of Gamble, and Evans able to get a hand on it, but another well-designed play and a good throw by Anthony Richardson as we see the replay on the Progressive Pylon cam.
Long count for Anthony Richardson. To the sideline for Pierce, bumped out of bounds near the 5 by Micah Baskerville. When we spoke with Ed Ogeron yesterday, what you were talking about with Molly, he said the play callers he thinks are particularly outstanding: Dan Mullen, Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian.
Yep, he coached with Lane and obviously coached against Sark, and has great respect for how they adjust in games and how they have a feel for calling plays.
Is this the quarterback run part of the field? Looked like he might. Instead, he throws a slant for a touchdown. Justin Shorter again.
You know, his little hitch, you don't normally hitch up when you're a quarterback on this short of a throw, but the little hitch, I think, sold the run. Watch him kind of hitch towards the line of scrimmage, and for just an instant, it looked like run. The LSU defense had their hands down, and he's able to slip that slant in to the big receiver Shorter for the touchdown.
His 5th catch of the game, matching his career high. 95 receiving yards is his career high, and he has 2 touchdowns. Jace Christman, the extra point. It's a spirited rivalry, and again this year, it's a terrific game. Still a long way to go in Baton Rouge. Some more great action over on ABC today and tonight, 3:30 Eastern Time. Second-ranked team in the country, the Iowa Hawkeyes at home hosting Purdue. And at 7:30 tonight, 4th-ranked Oklahoma welcomes TCU. It's today on ABC. Still a long time to go in this one. 7:59, 3rd quarter. Anthony Richardson's provided a spark for this Florida offense. Led them down the field 2 drives in a row. They're now matching scores with LSU. The Tigers still lead by 7. They'll get the ball back on the Jace Christman kickoff.
I thought it was interesting. Dan Mullen, we were talking to him yesterday a little bit about Ed Ogeron's situation here, and you know, the heat on him and being in the SEC and recruiting and everything. And he made the point. He said, you know, the SEC is a lot like the NFL in that there are no breather games. I mean, you look at our schedule in the SEC, there are no easy games. He knew coming in here was not going to be any kind of an easy game.
Fair catch on the kickoff, and here's Matt Berry.
All right, guys, another good one in the SEC. Arkansas-Auburn. After Arkansas came back to grab the lead, KJ Jefferson sacked in his own end zone. Marcus Harris recovers it for a touchdown. Auburn regains the lead. And then watch this dime from Bo Nix to Demetrius Robinson. Absolutely perfect. Arkansas, however, has just tacked on a touchdown. Back and forth in this one as well, gentlemen.
All right, Matt, thank you. Here comes the LSU offense again. Led by Max Johnson, 12 for 20 for 125 and 2 touchdowns. Jack Mashburn, the tight end. 7-yard gain, first catch of the season for the sophomore from Mandeville, Louisiana.
Take a look at what LSU has done today running the football. That's been the difference for them. It's given them balance. It's taken some pressure off Max Johnson. The problem is now Florida's got some things figured out on their offense, so LSU has to keep their foot on the gas.
Ty Davis Price stopped at the line of scrimmage. He scored a 40-yard touchdown on their last possession. Ran into Antonio Valentino there. The transfer from Penn State. That 40-yard run for the touchdown by Davis Price was the longest of his career and the longest run of the season for LSU. The offensive line doing a better job in the run game, certainly. This is 2 weeks in a row now that they've run the ball well. 147 last week, most of it late in Kentucky. Johnson in a single coverage and incomplete. Trying to get it to Coy Moore with Jadarius Perkins in coverage.
Ball kind of hung in the air for a long time. I don't think there was any interference. The ball was just overthrown. It got up in that air a little bit and sailed over Moore's head. LSU's going to have to 3-and-out punt. Haven't seen very many defensive stops in this second half so far. Gators just got one.
Avery Atkins to punt for the 6th time today. Xavier Henderson swung down at the 35-yard line. 42-yard punt and 9-yard return. So it has been a wild third quarter. Florida scored 15 points in this quarter and LSU 14. The interception mixed in the last 4 drives. Of course, that was returned for a touchdown by LSU. So their last 4 drives have resulted in a touchdown for somebody.
That's right.
And it's Richardson again. So that's a change in their usual operation. In for the 3rd series in a row and likely to stay in. Juggling catch. And then a great effort after the catch to get a couple of extra yards by Kamari Gamble.
Yeah, I'm impressed with his presence right now and his poise. I mean, he wasn't sure how much he would play. Has not played all that much the last 2 weeks, coming off the hamstring injury. Did not start all that well, but he has really settled down, and he's given this Florida offense the stability and the spark that they needed.
Malik Davis waiting for a hole, never really found one. And they'll have 3rd down and a yard upcoming. Here's Molly McGrath.
Well, the last thing Anthony Richardson did on the sideline before taking the field was hug Emory Jones. And Jones has been the first on the field to congratulate his teammates for both touchdown drives. He stayed engaged. And Damian Pierce tells me these quarterbacks lean on each other. They genuinely like each other. And you can see that support is there, Sean.
3rd and 2, a run for Richardson. Great cut to the outside. And he runs out of bounds long after he picked up the 1st down. He's at the 32 of LSU with a 25-yard run.
This was supposed to go to the left. He just saw a big gap and a lack of discipline on the backside of the LSU defense, so he made that decision to cut it out the backside. That play was designed to go off left tackle. He saw it open up backside and took advantage of the LSU mistake.
He had an 80-yard touchdown run against South Florida, 73-yard run against FAU. Here's Malik Davis for very little.
You know, one thing that Florida's doing today is they're eliminating the operational penalties. The last time they played in a hostile environment on the road to Kentucky, they had 15 team penalties, but 8 false starts. One thing they're doing is the left guard is paying attention to the quarterback. When the quarterback is ready for the snap, he's tapping the center. And that is kind of giving them the indication of when to start the play.
They haven't been penalized at all today. You have a wide open receiver again. Jacob Copeland Down to the 11-yard line where Cameron Lewis made the tackle.
This is a really interesting play. Watch Copeland. He's going to be blocking like it's a screen. Then he releases and come back inside. That was by design. Anthony Richardson, meanwhile, was looking to the right with his eyes, and he came back to the left knowing he would have an open receiver off of that little deception play.
20-yard completion. After the run fake, it's a touchdown. Beautiful throw again by Richardson. Right on the money to Dameon Pierce. And they're an extra point away from a tie game with 3:45 to go in the third.
Well, the guy who makes this play is Kenmore Gamble. Watch number 2, the tight end. He's just going to kind of slowly go right in between these two defenders. And by doing that, he attracts both of them. And nobody is able to get out quick enough to Pierce for the touchdown throw.
And the extra point for Jace Christman to tie it. A wild third quarter. 22 scored in this quarter by the Gators, 14 by the Tigers, and they're all square at 35.
Well, this was the interception that got Emory Jones lifted from the game. Threw it off balance, back across the middle, and then ever since Anthony Richardson is coming to the game, it's been a new look Florida offense. Meanwhile, the LSU running game has continued to prosper against this Gator defense, and now it's back and forth and kind of has the feel of who's going to have the football last, or who's going to come up with another crucial turnover here in the fourth quarter that could decide this football game.
Anthony Richardson out of Eastside High School right there in Gainesville has created a spark. Outstanding dual threat quarterback in high school and also an excellent basketball player. Christman with a touchback. Here comes Max Johnson trying to get his mates fired up. He's 13 for 22 for 132 and 2 touchdowns. Both touchdowns to Jeray Jenkins. Been a nice balance on offense. 22 runs, 22 passes for LSU. Ty Davis Price kept the legs moving, got 4. Daquan Newkirk made the tackle. One of those transfers Todd Grantham talked about who really helped bolster the defensive line. He came over from Auburn. Davis Price again.
Wow. He went hunting for contact on that run. He was looking for Trevez Johnson and said hello. Wow, this guy is running hard. He ran hard against Kentucky last week, and he's running even harder today, having a career ball game.
The last week he had, it's Trevez Johnson, had the heavy contact with Davis Price. He was a little slow to get up. The 147 for Davis Price last week at Kentucky was the career high, as were the 2 touchdowns. So he's matched the rushing touchdown total today, and he's established a new career high with 159 yards on 19 carries for 8.5 per carry.
Well, this has been his favorite play too. It's the same counter trap. They pull the backside guard and the backside tackle, and this tight end gets a big block out in front of the play. They've run it several times. They've executed it every time. And then Davis Price does the rest with his running style.
Well, can LSU continue to match just about score for score? Crowd wanted a flag on the pass intended for Brian Thomas. No flag thrown.
No flag because the ball was deflected. There was a corner blitz Elam was coming off the short corner. He got a deflection. That's why there's no interference for contact with the receiver.
Johnson off the fake, rolls with plenty of room, then runs. Got to the 45-yard line. They'll need 5 more. Zachary Carter chased him out. Zach Carter is looking forward to playing here today. Told us yesterday his mom is from Baton Rouge, and he made a number of trips here as a youngster to come visit relatives in the capital city of Louisiana. Zach's from Tampa, out of Hillsborough High School, 5th-year senior at Florida, one of the best defensive linemen in the country. Davis Price, first down. They convert on the run. 3rd and 5, they got 6.
Well, Florida's defense kind of played right into that play. The end got upfield. That allowed Austin Deculus, the right tackle, to just take him out. And the right guard, Martinez, with a nice block at the point of attack, and another first down for LSU.
Under 2 minutes to go, 3rd quarter.
This Florida defense held Alabama in that loss to 91 yards rushing. They have been great against the run until today.
That's 6 more. Give the offensive line, which has come under some criticism here in Louisiana, a lot of credit. It's a veteran group, 114 combined career starts, but hadn't played particularly well. That's changing over these last few weeks. Of course, the stalwart is the right tackle, Deculus. Jake Peets joked yesterday he's been here longer than Coach O. His 40th start, playing in his 55th career game, the right tackle, number 76. Back to the line, and that's about it. There's Jake Peets, came over from the Carolina Panthers, working for Matt Rule. Said he really wasn't interested in going back to the college game, but Matt Rule encouraged him. This is a job you should take. They wanted to bring back the offense that Joe Brady had run so well here with Joe Burrow when they won the national championship, and Peets and Brady had worked closely in Carolina. Ty Davis Price looked like he got just enough with that excellent effort to get the first down. It was interesting talking with Ed Ogeron yesterday. He said, yeah, I did bring him in here to do with Joe Brady. He said, of course he doesn't have Joe Burrow. He said, but he also doesn't know the offense as well as Joe Brady. They're working very hard to get to that point.
Well, they have.
Pete's a very impressive guy.
He is. And they also have DJ Mangus, who was a part of that 2019 LSU staff, who also came from the Panthers. But again, it was Joe Brady's offense. That's Mangus to the left. They both are familiar with this offense. And I'll tell you what, the offense looks pretty good today.
Lots of celebrating in that 3rd quarter on both sides. Set up for another great finish between Florida and LSU.
ESPN, home of the College Football Playoff Semifinals. Friday, December 31st on ESPN.
Certainly hard to project what the college football playoff semifinals are going to look like right now. It's been a wild first half of this college football season. It's been a very entertaining first 3 quarters of this game between SEC rivals Florida and LSU, tied at 35. 1st and 10, LSU with the Florida 29. Ty Davis Price tripped up from behind, or that might have gone a long way. Tyron Hopper made several key stops today for Florida, has another. It's been Davis Price carrying the load. He has 25 carries now. They have one other from a running back. He's not tired. Touchdown.
It's the same play, Sean. It's the same counter trap. Florida has not figured it out. They've not figured out how to stop it, and LSU just keeps going back to it. And every time they go to it, Ty Davis-Price makes a big play out of it. It's good blocking on the front side and the back side, and LSU has found a weak spot in this Florida run defense, and they're exploiting it.
200-yard rushing game for Ty Davis-Price. 25 carries, 204 yards, and now 3 touchdowns, giving him 5 in his last 2 games. Cade York's extra point has made it a 7-point lead.
You have to block down here. This tight end fakes and blocks here, and then you pull the backside guard, the backside tackle. The back has to have some patience. You kick out, you lead through, you get a block by the tight end, Jack Mashburn. And Florida has yet to figure out how to get enough defenders there to stop this play. And credit to Jake Peets, credit to Brad Davis, the offensive line coach. They figured out Florida has not stopped this play, so let's keep going back to the well.
.204 yards rushing, just 109 for a Florida team that's making its gains through the air largely today, even though they were the 3rd best rushing team in the country coming in. Florida averaging 274 a game on the ground. 77 combined points, the most ever in this rivalry. It's the 68th all-time meeting between these two teams. Touchback. Here's Matt Berry.
Guys, fun one you have there. Another one we're keeping an eye on for you. Oklahoma State and Texas. All of a sudden, Polk's back in it. Spencer Sanders to Brendan Presley. 2-point conversion, no good. 2-point game, Texas, Oklahoma State.
Well, that's an entertaining couple of weeks for Texas against teams from Oklahoma.
No kidding.
As the note we just mentioned, the 77 combined points. We thought it would be tough to top last year's game. We were in Gainesville for that. Won by LSU 37-34. On a late field goal, Richardson ran out of time completing his fake. By the time he started to retreat to throw, B.J. Ojulari was right there.
Yeah, another inside spin move by Ojulari. Here he is beating the left tackle again. This was the Tebow play again. Fake and back up and throw. And Richardson does well just to get rid of the football and avoid the negative play, because this has sack written all over it, if not for the strength of Richardson to get rid of the football.
Richardson had been the backup prior to today. He's become the man here in the second half. Going nowhere that time. Neil Farrell first there, and welcome back Glenn Logan, the 6th-year senior, number 97, who had not played this year prior to today due to injury.
There they are, 92 and 97, 2 good friends, 2 buddies. They meet in the backfield, and they wrap up the quarterback for a negative yardage loss, and Richardson is down. And the fans are booing, but I guarantee you he's not hurt, because Dan Mullen wants Anthony Richardson taking snaps at center.
Now, there are times it looks like defenders are faking to slow down the offense, but that's not what's happening here.
That is not.
Not trying to slow down his own offense, although they've been going in reverse on this possession.
He's hanging that left arm. I mean, he went down.
He'll have to go out for at least a play. Back in a moment.
Back here in Baton Rouge, where the crowd was booing Anthony Richardson when he went down with an injury, but it looks like he really was injured. He looked like he was in discomfort. His left hand was jammed a little bit and was bleeding, but they taped it up, and he said, "I'm good to go."
Out, at least for this play, as you can see, bleeding from his left pinky. So Emory Jones back in, their starter. He was 11 for 17 passing, but has thrown 2 interceptions to go along with a touchdown. Deafening noise being made by 96,012. 4-man rush on 3rd and 13. Jones on target. First down, Florida. Out across the 40-yard line to Justin Shorter.
How about the guts of Dan Mullen to call a pass here? 3rd and 13 with your now backup quarterback who's been sitting on the bench, and no sulking by Emory Jones. Molly gave that report about his support of Anthony Richardson. He comes in 3rd and 13 and delivers a strike.
For 18 yards, career day for Shorter continues. Now Jones back on the run, their leading rusher for the season. He got 3.
I can't tell you how impressive that was to me. I mean, I was thinking for sure Dan Mullen's going to just run the football here, punt it, not put that pressure on Emory Jones to make that play on 3rd and 13, and Emory Jones just said, boom, here it is, first down.
We spoke with Emory Jones yesterday, said he has no problem dividing the time with Anthony Richardson. Their 2 leading rushers. Fake the toss, throws back, broken up. Trying to get it to Jacob Copeland, and it was Dwight McLaughlin.
And McLaughlin made a really nice play, breaking on the football, knocking it away. It was a good throw. The timing was there. Just McLaughlin made a great play.
Another 3rd down. The Gators just converted on 3rd and 13. Announced at 96,012. That's about 6,000 below capacity here at Tiger Stadium. That's probably tickets sold, a lot more empty seats than that, but this place still loud. Ball is out after the run got the first down for Naquan Wright, and Florida got it back. He had passed the marker and then put it on the ground.
Yeah, very lucky. This ball's going to bounce right back up to him. I think that was Damone Clark that put the hit on the football, knocked it loose, but it bounced right back up to Wright. That would have been the 4th turnover of the game for Florida. You kind of get this feeling that a turnover at this point is what's going to really turn this football game.
Richardson back in. He keeps.
Boy, he's big. I mean,
big and strong, fast. He goes down to the 40. Dan Mullen said yesterday, you know, we're not really sure he understands yet what he's supposed to do on every play, but sometimes it works anyway because he just out-athletes people, to use Coach Mullen's word.
Well, he ran that play like a tight end who just caught a little short dump-off pass. I mean, he lowered his shoulder and ran through about 3 tackles.
Pitches it this time. Pierce trying to get to the corner and cannot. Ridden out of bounds for no gain by Cameron Lewis. The safety, graduate student from Monroe, Louisiana, a 6th-year senior in this LSU program. Florida started the game 1 for 7 on 3rd down. They've converted the last 4 against that Orgeron's defense.
Well, this kind of distance, you always have to be alert for the quarterback run here, too. It's very manageable distance on this 3rd down play.
And probably 4 down territory if they don't get it here. Richardson throws deep and too deep. Over the head of Malik Davis, the running back, and out of bounds. And now Dan Mullen with the decision to make, out of field goal range. And the offense will stay on. One of the biggest play calls of Dan Mullen's season to date.
You got those big-bodied receivers. I think some kind of a slant, something quick out of the hands of Richardson towards the middle of the field here.
On 4th and 4, they complete a pass for a first down. Kamari Campbell, the tight end, having one of the best games of his career.
Really nice combination. The outside receiver Shorter, number 4, is running the slant. He got in the way of the defender covering Gamble on the out. It's a very common combination between a wide receiver and a tight end, and Richardson picks the right guy and gets the ball to Gamble for the first down.
7 yards on 4th and 4. 7-point lead for LSU, a 12.5-point home underdog today. They won in Gainesville last year as a 23-point dog. And Richardson's throw was on target, but not taken in by Jacob Copeland. McLaughlin in coverage again.
Well, you probably would think that this McLaughlin, if he didn't play in the same team with Stingley and Ricks, would be maybe a full-time starter, all-conference type player somewhere else, because he's played well in good coverage. That's a long throw that Richardson tried to make from the right hash back to the left sideline. But McLaughlin in man coverage did a beautiful job.
Under 10 minutes to go now in regulation time. 2nd and 10, Florida. Richardson up the middle, not much. Maybe back to the line. Jaquelin Roy and Neil Farrell there for the Tiger defensive line.
Well, if you're in 2-down territory here, if you're Anthony Richardson, you don't have to get it all in one play. I mean, if you're thinking, if Dan Mullen's thinking 2 plays here, the quarterback needs to be on that same page and know I don't have to get it all on this one play.
Plenty of time for Richardson. To the end zone, and it is caught for a touchdown. Jacob Copeland.
Copeland ran a beautiful route. It was a little stop and go. Watch the stop, freeze, McLaughlin, and then he's beat. And now McLaughlin, he's so busy trying to catch up, he has no idea where the football is. He's trying to read the eyes of Copeland. And this is a beautiful throw. As you see the replay on the progressive pylon cam, beautiful throw by Anthony Richardson when he knew his man had a step on the defender. That's the life of a man-to-man cornerback. We've been talking about McLaughlin making play after play. Knocked the ball away a couple plays ago. And then he's still out there on an island and he gets frozen on a stop and go. And you go to the opposite end of the spectrum if you're a cornerback playing in a defense that plays a lot of man coverage like LSU does.
Neil Farrell walking slowly off, veteran of that defensive line. 33-yard touchdown to Jacob Copeland. He had a huge game last year against the Tigers in Gainesville. He went for 5 catches, 123 yards, including a 19-yard touchdown from Kyle Trask. Redshirt junior from Pensacola. Crispin for the tie. .42 apiece with 9:14 to go. Richardson the touchdown pass. Don't forget about the contribution of Emory Jones off the bench on that 3rd down and 13 that kept them moving.
ESPN College Football is presented by Marathon, driven forward, and in part by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need.
Anthony Richardson's made some beautiful throws, but perhaps the most important throw of this second half was the only one by Emory Jones that kept that drive alive on 3rd down and 13 from their own 22.
And remember, the last throw before that he made was the one that got him benched. It was intercepted. His first possession of the 3rd quarter, returned for a touchdown. Dan Mullen opting to go for Richardson, and to Emory Jones's credit, he did not pout on the sideline. This is the last play that he had prior to that 3rd and 13 throw. Returned for a touchdown, gave LSU the momentum early in the 3rd quarter, and then he came right back on the field and delivered.
A rare kickoff return in this game, and it's the dangerous Trey Palmer. Trey Palmer tripped up by the kicker, Crispin. Palmer, one of only 8 players in LSU history, has returned a kickoff and a punt for a touchdown. Here's Matt Berry.
Sean, Auburn fans got 4 quarters of good Bo Nix this afternoon. Here, the designed run for 23 yards, and Auburn has pulled away 38-23 over Arkansas late in the 4th quarter. And Oklahoma State just stops Texas on 4th and 3. They've got the lead and the ball.
Wow. Back-to-back very tough losses for Texas against the Oklahoma schools. Tie game. All back with LSU, and it's Ty Davis Price ahead to the 35-yard line in Arkansas. Boy, the feel-good story of the season just a few weeks ago, drifting rapidly in the wrong direction.
Well, there was so much hype and build-up around that game at Georgia, and Georgia just took everything out of them. You know, they just have had a hard time recovering from that ball game. Of course, Kentucky, who beat both of these two teams, they get that treat of playing Georgia in Athens here this afternoon.
Ty Davis Price, what a game. Well over 200 yards for the junior from right here in Baton Rouge, Southern Lab High School. That's 13 yards against Todd Grantham's defense and 220 for the morning into afternoon.
Jack Mashburn, one of the backup tight ends, number 82, a sophomore out of Manville, Louisiana, has just blocked beautifully today. He's the lead blocker on a lot of these plays, kind of like a fullback leading the way for Ty Davis Price.
Mashburn also had his first career catch today.
Offense, number 10. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Well, he's carried 27 times and
still hungry.
Send him down that tiger pie.
Yeah.
He can have my banana pudding pie, whatever that was.
You know what?
I'm not very grateful. I'm so grateful.
You're not.
I'll give it to somebody who enjoy it. Look great. Davis Price, first down. Ball out at the end of the run. And he was down, the line judge says, from the near side of the field.
See, this is the same counter play, but instead of pulling the guard and the tackle, it's the guard and the tight end. And Mashburn again leading the way. And Ty Davis Price knows where his bread is buttered, I guess is how you say that.
Your butter could be breaded, I suppose. He was definitely down. Yep. And they are already in field goal range. That's one thing we haven't had today with everything else is a field goal attempt by either team. How about that nifty footwork by Davis Price to the 33-yard line. Trey Dean the stop for the Gators.
And one of the reasons you take a little time here is not only to run clock and put more pressure on Florida, but also let your running back get a little breath. You know,
definitely is a little winded, but
feeding him.
You wouldn't know it based on the performance. They bring pressure effectively. No gain. Jeremiah Moon there for the Florida defense. Under 6.5 minutes to go. Florida and LSU tied at 42. Richardson awaits his return to the field. They have not been able to stop Anthony Richardson in the Gator offense. These LSU Tigers on defense in this half. Florida scored 29 points since intermission. On 3rd and 4, here's Josh Williams stepping in for Davis Price and running inside the 10.
I love the call because Florida's got to be thinking if they take Davis Price out, this has got to be a pass. It's the same counter. It's guard and tight end, but we're doing it with Josh Williams on 3rd and 4. They execute it again, and LSU with a big-time conversion on 3rd down with a backup running back.
Just the second carry by a running back other than Davis Price today for LSU. Mahmoud Diabate, the injured player. Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, Molly McGrath back in Baton Rouge. Ty Davis Price had 287 through the first 6 games, and 147 of those were last week against Kentucky. He has emerged as a force in these last 2 weeks. Still driving and twisting his way inside the 3-yard line. 2nd and goal.
It's amazing to me when you look at what LSU's done running the football. We love to track explosive plays, runs of 10 yards or more, passes of 20 yards or more. Coming in to today, through 6 games, LSU had 15 runs of 10 yards or more. Today, they already have 10. I mean, it's just been a complete turnaround since the second half of that Kentucky game, and then way beyond that today against this Florida defense.
418 yards of offense for the Tigers. 5 minutes to go. Still tied at 42. And nothing doing that time for Ty Davis-Price, who's rushed for 250. The single game rushing record for LSU is 284 by Leonard Fournette in 2016 against Ole Miss.
Hopper with another nice play at the goal line there. Newkirk ate up a double team, and that freed up the linebacker Hopper to come in there and finish it off and bring up a 3rd down and goal.
This is the most yards rushing by an LSU player against Florida. Hoping for more. Driving toward the goal line, but not all the way there. They had stopped the play. You see the official on the far sideline running in, saying progress had been stopped. And now a big decision for Ed Ogeron. Do you break the tie and take the lead with a field goal? Doesn't look like it. You can hear the whistles there. The whistles were blowing. You can argue they shouldn't have been, but that's history now. Max Johnson's going to go under center on 4th and goal. Play fake. Man wide open. Touchdown, Jeray Jenkins. Well, this coaching staff under pressure. They have their team playing very hard and a very well coached offense today. What a call by Jake Peets for the touchdown, with everybody expecting a run. Maybe from Johnson when he got under center, or certainly for Davis-Price with the day he's had. None of the above.
I think at first he was looking for Besh, because as the quarterback comes out, he's looking to his left first. Jenkins is the guy in motion. See him look that way, then he wheels back, knowing he had the outlet throw, because Jenkins was the guy in motion. A heads-up play by Max Johnson, not giving up on the play and going to his second alternative for the touchdown.
Cade York, about as automatic as one can be. He adds the extra point. He's made 104 in a row. Max Johnson to Jeray Jenkins, his 3rd touchdown of the game. Lots of players having a career day in Baton Rouge. Here's a look at this week's college football rankings, brought to you by PlayStation. So much movement within the top 10 this season. Georgia has ascended to #1 in the big matchup upcoming with undefeated Kentucky. Purdue and Iowa get started momentarily on ABC. Cincinnati in command against UCF, and Alabama tonight at Mississippi State. Here it's LSU by a touchdown. Florida down by 7, 3.5 to go, but they'll get the ball back, and the Gators have scored touchdowns on each of their last 4 possessions.
Both teams with their full complement of timeouts here for the final 3:30.
As you can tell, still very breezy here. It has been throughout. That several times for both sides. The ball has come off the tee. Gusts to about 26 miles per hour. But as you noted earlier, no fear of fog drifting in as it did last year in Gainesville to add some intrigue to what was also a wacky game.
And I think all shoes will remain on feet as well.
Here's Matt Berry after the touchback.
Sean, I know what you're wondering. What about Baylor and BYU? We've moved kick to 3:40. If your game does not conclude by then, you're going to have to go to ESPN Plus or the ESPN app to watch the beginning of Baylor BYU. Otherwise, it will kick here at 3:40. Guys?
Mark Jones's teammates might start chopping it up somewhere else, but they'll be here on ESPN as soon as we're finished in Baton Rouge. We'll go on to Waco. Anthony Richardson hands it off straight ahead for about 4. Naquan Wright. All 3 timeouts left for Florida. Last year, Dan Mullen and Florida lost to an unranked LSU team. 6th time that Florida, as a ranked team, had lost to an unranked Tiger team. Naquan Wright for a yard. That is the most losses for the Gators in such a scenario against any opponent since the Pole era began back in 1936. 3rd down. They need 4 and change, almost a full 5. They've been tremendous on 3rd down here in the second half. Richardson under duress. Richardson has the first down. Sometimes, as Coach Mullen said, he can just out-athlete you, and it was his speed that got him across the 35.
Yeah, speed and strength to break those last 2 tackles to secure the first down.
We got officially 6 on 3rd down. 2:10 to go. He fires deep. One-on-one coverage. A throw way short of Justin Shorter, who's had his best day of his career. 6 for 113 and 2 touchdowns. Good pressure provided by Glenn Logan, the 6th-year senior, who returned for the first time this season today.
On that 3rd down play, B.J. Ojulari almost got there again. Here he is. He's been the most effective pass rusher for LSU today so far.
LSU by a touchdown. Richardson under pressure again, just lofts it up, and it is intercepted by Damone Clark. Fourth interception of the day for the LSU defense. They had 3 all year coming into this contest.
Well, it was Jaquelin Roy on the inside and B.J. Ojulari on the outside. This is an ill-advised throw. He's throwing off his back foot. It's late. It's down towards the middle of the field. And the underneath coverage, Damone Clark makes the interception. The 4th turnover interception by this LSU defense.
LSU +4 in turnover margin today. They have not turned it over. They've had 4 picks, 2 from each quarterback, Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson. Davis Price for 5. Florida has all 3 timeouts left, and Dan Mullen will use his first with 1:53 remaining.
For all the good plays that Anthony Richardson has made today, both of his interceptions were bad decisions and bad plays, and just a young quarterback trying to make every play. Sometimes you got to just eat it or throw the ball away and realize the defense wins, you know, and he just didn't do that.
For a moment, it looked like his receiver might have a step, but the ball underthrown and into that 26-mile-an-hour wind.
backing up, couldn't step into it. No way could he get enough on that throw into tight coverage. Again, that's just one he wishes he had back. He'll learn from that, he'll grow from that, because you can see the upside and his ability to make positive plays. That was just one that the next time he's in that situation, probably won't make that throw.
Another first down for LSU would just about put it away. 2nd and 5. Davis Price. Davis Price!
Why not?
All the way to the 45-yard line. He's getting very close to the single game rushing record set by Leonard Fournette. He is 277. 7 yards short of it.
LSU right now going with an extra offensive lineman formation. They've got Garrett Dellinger, number 72, who's in there as a blocking tight end. And they ran right to his side on that play for the big conversion and another first down. They're not making any bones about it. They're going to run the football and use clock here and keep feeding their horse, Ty Davis Price.
Well, it's been a difficult season for LSU, not even 2 full years removed from a national title. Rumors swirling about the coach, but they're put on an amazing performance here today. And that's 10 more for Ty Davis Price and the single game rushing record.
Second charge, timeout of the half, Florida.
287 on 36 carries.
Wow.
3 touchdowns. He breaks Leonard Fournette's single game rushing record that stood for 5 years.
Well, you could tell from the very beginning, he had the momentum from last week. He started off with a bang, running with power, running with vision. North and south, breaking tackles, excellent execution by this offensive line. The best game the LSU offensive line has played. And that led to a career day for that man, Ty Davis Price. Fun to watch. I mean, he was fun to watch today. Funny, Dan Mullen told us yesterday, you know, if we lose this game, that'll give us 3 losses. We'll be 4-3, and LSU would be 4-3. I don't think it'll be the same situation for Dan Mullen.
Well, we were talking to him about Ed Ogeron's job security, and he said, yeah, he didn't really understand it, but he said when you coach in this league, you know that your job security is a weekly deal. And he said, if we lose tomorrow, I'll be 4-3. It might be my job that's being talked about. Don't know that we're to that point yet, but your situation can change quickly. And Dan Mullen said, you understand that when you coach in this league. The slogan is, it means more. They talk about this. He said, that's the reason there's the slogan, because it does. It means more for fans in this part of the country. So neither one of these teams now with any realistic chance at Atlanta in an SEC title game. And Ed Ogeron, if this is to be his last season, and I'm not sure this changes that narrative very much, if at all, he has to be very proud as the way his team played, and as he told us they would. He had a great week of practice, and it showed up on the field, Molly.
Coach, it has been a roller coaster of a season, but your players told me they would continue to fight. What are you most proud of from their performance today?
You know, they practiced all week, and I knew we was going to win the game. I felt like the whole week we'll win the game. Andre Anthony did a great job of leadership. Players only meeting. We're going to fight. These LSU Tigers are going to fight.
There have been questions about your job security this week, but you just beat a top 20 Florida team with most of your starters out. What kind of statement did you make to these LSU fans and the administration?
You know, we go one game at a time, one day at a time. I'm just interested in these players right there. This is not about me. This is about these players that fought all week to win this big-time game.
All right, congratulations on the win, Coach.
Thank you. Go Tigers.
They said yesterday we'll play all the rest of them and see where it stands at the end of the year. They have a very tough schedule remaining at Ole Miss, at Alabama. Arkansas and A&M still ahead as well. What a game that usually is when these two get together. LSU beats Florida 49-42. For Molly McGrath, Todd Blackledge, and our great crew, So long from Baton Rouge. Let's send you to Waco now for BYU and Baylor. Here's Mark Jones.
ESPN thanks you for watching this presentation of the Southeastern Conference.